I never thought I'd end up here, honestly. My name's Jake, and I'll tell you, I thought I had it all figured out. Been with my wife, Emily, for about 5 years now. We met in college. I thought she was the one, smart, funny, kind, and seemingly committed. We planned our wedding, started talking about a future, and everything seemed perfect. But lately, I started noticing little things that didn't quite add up. She was acting weird. Sometimes she'd be on her phone more than usual, hiding her screen when I walked into the room, and there were odd late nights. At first, I thought it was work stress or just her being busy. We run a small business together, so I figured she was just overwhelmed. But then came the little lies, the half-truths she'd slip into conversations. Always some excuse about why she couldn't meet up with friends or why she was so tired. I brushed it off, thinking maybe I was just paranoid. But deep down, I felt like something was off. I remember one night, I came home early from work by coincidence. I wasn't feeling well, so I decided to surprise her. I had no idea what I'd find. When I walked into our bedroom, I saw her lying in bed, and she wasn't alone. There was someone else, my best friend, Mark. I froze, just staring. They didn't notice me at first, but then Mark looked up and saw me. His face turned white, Emily's eyes widened. I couldn't breathe for a second. The shock hit me like a freight train. I thought I knew her, I thought I knew Mark. But there they were, tangled up in my bed like I didn't even exist. It was like my world cracked in half in that moment. I stood there trying to process the betrayal, the lies, the fact that my best friend, the one I trusted with everything, was sleeping with my wife. I didn't say a word that night. I just backed out of the room, my heart pounding so loud I thought everyone in the world could hear it. I didn't know what to do. I felt rage, heartbreak, humiliation all at once. I knew I had to confront her, but I wasn't sure how I was supposed to face her after seeing that. All I could do was go to bed, lying there staring at the ceiling, feeling like I'd been punched in the gut. The next morning, I woke up feeling like I'd been hit by a truck. My mind kept replaying that scene from the night before, Emily, lying there, her face that smug, bitchy smirk she always put on when she thought she was getting away with something, and Mark's guilty, panicked look. I couldn't believe I'd been so blind. All those signs, all those little lies I thought I had been overthinking, but now I saw the truth staring me in the face. I decided I had to get answers, even if I didn't want to hear them. I wasn't about to let her keep playing me for a fool. I waited until she got home from her work meeting, which I knew was bullshit, and I called her out the second she stepped inside. I remember the way her face twisted with that fake innocence as she tried to act like I was overreacting, like this was no big deal. That's when I lost it. Who the hell do you think you are, Emily? Sleeping with Mark, my best friend. Behind my back, for months. How long have you been sneaking around? How many times did you lie to my face? My voice was shaking, but I kept my anger in check. She just looked at me with those big, manipulative eyes and started telling all these ridiculous lies. Said she was just confused, that she didn't mean for it to happen, and that it was just sex, nothing serious. Like that makes it okay. She kept lying, trying to spin her little story. Said Mark was just helping her with some wedding plans, like that's a damn excuse for sleeping in my bed with her. She said she needed support, that she was feeling overwhelmed, and I swear, her tone was so bitchy when she threw that in there, like she was the victim, not the one cheating. I could see through all her bullshit. I was furious, heartbroken all at once. I wanted to scream at her, to shake her, but I just stood there speechless. My mind was racing, trying to process how I got here, how I trusted her all these years. The worst part wasn't just the cheating, it was how easily she lied her way out of it. She kept saying she loved me, that she wasn't thinking straight, that it was a mistake. Yeah, right. She looked me dead in the eyes and told me she'd never do it again, like I should just forgive and forget. That's when I realized she wasn't going to take responsibility. She was still trying to manipulate her way out of it, even after the proof was staring her in the face. I felt like I was losing my mind. I didn't know whether to cry, scream, or just walk out and never look back. But I knew I had to stay calm, even if inside I was boiling over with rage. I wasn't about to let her see me break. Not yet. After that confrontation, I felt like I was caught in some kind of nightmare I couldn't wake up from. The betrayal was so raw, so fresh, I couldn't focus on anything else. Every time I looked at Emily, I saw that smug, guilty expression she had when she was caught. Every time I thought about Mark, I felt this sick mixture of disgust and deep disappointment. These two people I trusted most in the world had ripped me apart, and I was just supposed to pretend everything was normal. I knew I needed to think carefully about what to do next. I wasn't the kind of guy who just jumped into some wild revenge scheme without considering the consequences, but I also couldn't just sit around and pretend like none of this had happened. I started spending more time alone, trying to process what had gone down. The nights were the worst, lying in bed, replaying that scene, feeling the pain of betrayal wash over me again and again. I decided I had to get some perspective. I started talking to a few close friends, guys I trust, people who would tell me the truth, and they all told me the same thing: cut her loose. One of them, Mike, said, "Jake, she's proven she's not worth your loyalty anymore. She's a liar and a cheat. Do not waste your time fighting for someone who doesn't value you." That advice hit me hard. I knew deep down they were right. I deserved better than this, but that didn't make it any easier to. Except I started planning my next move. I knew I couldn't stay in the same house with her, not after everything. I packed a bag and moved into a friend's apartment for a few days. During that time, Emily kept calling, texting, trying to talk and explain. But I didn't want to hear her bullshit. I knew her excuses, that she was confused, that it was just sex, that she loved me, were just that, excuses. I felt numb, honestly. All I could think about was how much she had hurt me, how I'd trusted her for so long, and how she'd thrown it all away for some quick, meaningless sex with Mark. That night, lying alone in that new place, I felt like I was finally beginning to see things clearly. I realized that the betrayal went beyond just the cheating. It was the betrayal of everything we had built together. I still loved her, I think, but love wasn't enough anymore. Trust was gone, and I couldn't pretend I hadn't seen what I saw. I knew I had to make a decision. I kept asking myself if I could forgive her, if I wanted to try and fix this mess, or if I just needed to cut my losses and walk away. I didn't have the answer then, but I knew I couldn't stay silent forever. The truth was out now, and there was no going back. A few days passed, and I kept turning over everything in my mind. It was like my brain was stuck in a loop, replaying the scene of walking in on Emily and Mark, again and again. I couldn't believe I'd been so blind. All those signs, all those little moments I brushed off, they all added up now. I kept asking myself how long she had been lying to me, how many nights she'd sneaked around, and why she chose to do this with my best friend of all people. I knew I had to confront her again, but this time on my terms. I wanted the truth straight from her, no more bullshit. So I called her, told her I was coming home, that I needed to talk. When I walked through that door, I saw her sitting on the couch, acting like she hadn't just betrayed me on a level I didn't even think was possible. She looked calm, maybe even smug, like she was expecting me to forgive her, to just move on. That made me angrier. "Emily," I started, voice low but steady. I saw you with Mark in my bed. How long has this been going on? How many times did you lie to my face?" Her eyes flicked away, and she started with her usual bullshit excuses. It was just sex. I didn't mean for it to happen. I was overwhelmed. She even had the nerve to say she loved me, that she wanted to work things out. I stared at her, my mind racing. How could she stand there and lie so easily? I'd caught her red-handed, and yet she still thought she could worm her way out of it. That's when I snapped. I told her I was done with the lies, done with her games, done with pretending I didn't see the truth. I told her I'd never trust her again, that she'd broken whatever was left of our relationship. Her face twisted into that bitchy smirk again, like she was trying to play the victim. Honestly, I wanted to punch her right then and there. The thing is, I expected her to beg, to plead, maybe even cry. But she didn't. Instead, she threw a fit, saying I was overreacting, that I was crazy for accusing her of cheating. She blamed me for everything, said I was neglectful, distant, that I didn't pay enough attention to her. It was classic Emily: deflect, deny, twist the story. She's so good at lying, she can make you question your own judgment. That's what made it so hard to stay calm. I felt the rage bubbling up, but I kept my voice level, knowing I had to be the one in control. In that moment, I realized I was at a crossroads. I could keep digging, maybe try to salvage what was left, or I could cut my losses and walk away. Deep down, I knew the answer. I couldn't stay with someone who lied to me for months, who cheated on me with my best friend, and who thought she could just bullshit her way out of it. But it still hurt so damn much. That betrayal cut so deep, I wasn't sure if I'd ever heal. I looked at her standing there, so confident and smug, and I knew I'd never see her the same way again. Something fundamental in me had changed, and I wasn't sure I wanted to go back to the way things were. Over the next few days, everything felt like walking through a fog. I was angry, yes, but underneath that, there was this heavy, aching sadness I couldn't shake. I kept replaying all the moments I thought were normal, the laughs, the plans, the trust, and then comparing them to what I knew now. It was like discovering a whole new person, someone I didn't recognize. Emily's constant lies, her manipulative attitude, her bitchy smirk when she thought she could get away with it, I saw her for what she really was. And it hurt like hell. I decided I needed to get out of the house. I couldn't stand being there, surrounded by her lies and that sickening feeling of betrayal. So I went to stay at my brother's place. I told him everything about what I saw, how I felt, my doubts about whether I should stay or leave. He listened quietly, never judging, just telling me I deserved better than someone who cheated on me with my best friend. That was the push I needed. I knew I had to make a decision. I thought about confronting her again, maybe giving her one last chance to be honest, but I knew better. The trust was shattered, and I didn't see how it could be repaired after what I'd seen and heard. I told Emily I was done, that I was moving out, and that I couldn't stay with her anymore. Her reaction was typical. She threw a fit, yelling, calling me crazy, accusing me of overreacting, and saying I was just jealous because she still loved me. Yeah, right. That's when I realized she wasn't even sorry. She was just trying to manipulate her way out of it, like always. The night I moved out was brutal. I packed up my stuff, feeling like I was ripping my heart out. As I looked around the apartment, I saw all the memories, good and bad, and I knew some part of me was dying inside. I told myself I'd be okay, that this pain would pass, but honestly, I wasn't sure if I believed it. All I knew was that I couldn't stay there with her anymore. Not after what she did. Now I'm in this weird place, angry, betrayed, and trying to pick up the pieces. I keep asking myself whether I'll ever trust anyone again, whether I'll be able to forgive her, or even if I want to. The worst part is that I still love her, or I did, but that love feels so distant now, replaced by this bitter taste of betrayal. I've learned something, though. Never ignore the signs and never let anyone treat you like you're second best. I thought I knew her, thought she was the one. Turns out I was just fooling myself. And yeah, I've got a long way to go. But one thing, for sure, I won't let her or Mark ruin me completely. I'll find a way to move on, even if it's one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. Since walking out on Emily, I've felt a mixture of relief and emptiness. It's like I finally broke free from a nightmare I didn't even realize I was living in. The betrayal cut so deep, but at least now I see things clearly. I won't lie, it's been rough, especially dealing with the guilt and the heartbreak. I kept asking myself if I should have fought harder, if I could have saved what we had, but deep down, I know she was never really honest with me. The trust was gone, and no matter how much I wanted to fix it, there was nothing left to salvage. What I've learned through all this is that you can't let someone treat you like garbage and expect everything to be okay. I should have seen the signs. I should have trusted my gut. But I was blinded by love, by hope, and maybe even by fear of being alone. Now I realize that those feelings only blinded me from the poison right in front of my face. Love can't survive betrayal, especially not when it's so deep, so calculated. I'm not perfect and I probably made mistakes, but I also know I deserve someone who respects me, who doesn't lie or cheat or think they can get away with anything. I've started working on myself, taking time to heal, to rebuild my confidence, to understand that I don't need someone who treats me like an option. I've realized I don't want to be with someone who manipulates, who lies, or who sneaks around in my bed with my best friend. I don't need that kind of toxicity in my life. I've made peace with the fact that I might be alone for a while, but I'd rather be alone than with someone who doesn't value me. Looking back, I think this whole experience has shown me my strength. I never thought I could go through something so painful and come out the other side still standing, but here I am. I've learned that betrayal is the end of the world. It's a brutal lesson, sure, but one that's made me more aware of what I want and what I won't accept. I hope this story helps someone else who's going through the same thing. Trust me, it hurts like hell, but you'll survive. And someday, you'll look back and realize that betrayal, as much as it sucks, was just a part of your journey to find something better.